Developmental disabilities in children can have lasting effects, but they can be prevented with early intervention.
Parents who've been through it before say patience is key, especially when you have to fight the powers that be to make it happen. Justin Willis introduces us to a campaign to put kids first. It's called the Children's Political Movement.
What I do, Mom?
This is Ezekiel Belcher. He's 6 years old. He's been dealing with developmental disabilities since he was 3 weeks old. It started with a respiratory virus. It went undiagnosed after repeated doctor visits. At 18 months, Ezekiel developed severe ear infections. Eventually, he suffered a severe hearing loss. His mom says it delayed his speech and language development. He's caught up now, as active as any 6-year-old, but that's because his mom took action early. She had to go way beyond the pediatrician, but it was tough to find the services. And once she did, getting access became the trick.
There is a lack of an infrastructure for educating parents and for screening children early and often for developmental or cognitive disabilities. There is no established protocol.
This is why parents and First 5 Fresno County are standing behind the children's movement. The goal is to make kids the top priority in communities. First 5's executive director says kids are often overlooked when it comes to legislation.
It's not about being right or left, it's about our kids.
Kendra Rogers says state and local lawmakers typically wait until something happens to our kids before action is taken. She says we pave the future by taking preventative measures now. Since kids can't vote, she says it's important for us as parents to back those politicians who will stand up for our children. She says the decisions we make now will have an effect on our kids as they grow.
We can only build so many jails. We can only build fund so many remediation programs for kids versus getting ahead of it, making sure that we have kids that have the foundation so they don't end up involved with the criminal justice system, who have their developmental needs met so that they don't end up in special education.
It's one of the reasons Ezekiel's mom and dad keep fighting.
For any child with cognitive or developmental delays, the more you intervene between the ages of 18 months to 5 years, the more productive your child's going to be.
And Justin Willis joins us once again from Studio B.
And I got to tell you guys, just in talking with Christine Belcher, and you could just see, the struggle that they had, but they overcame it, and it's just an example of diligence and what it means to kind of stick it out and watch out for your kids. And we've got Zoa Vang with First 5 Fresno County joining us now. And Zoa, it's not just Christine, but there are so many other parents out there that are taking action for their kids. What's a more local example of that happening here?
Well, and the children's movement is really about us as a community stepping up and not pointing fingers, but taking responsibility for the outcome for all of our babies and children. And the children's movement is a grassroots movement of which First 5 is one of the partners. And for instance, at the County Board of Supervisors hearings, we had a group of 40 community members who normally otherwise would not have been engaged. They went and sat through the entire hearings to become more educated and spoke up, challenging folks to say, that's great that we're talking about the coroner's office. Have you thought about its impact on kids? That's great that we're talking about the sheriff's budget, but have we thought about the impact on kids? And it's forcing folks to filter it through children, not telling people what to think, but that we should all be thinking and questioning and monitoring these processes.
It's kind of difficult to see how a certain piece of legislation will affect us in our future, and a lot of that has to do with our kids. So Zoa, thank you so much. All right, guys, we'll come up in the next block. We are going to talk fathers and the importance of fathers being active in their kids' life. Guys, back to you.
Justin, thanks so much. And of course, as he was saying, when it comes to pregnancy, many people do think about mom and baby, but dad's an important component too.
Dad is a vital role. We will talk about the importance fathers play in those first 5 years. We'll be right back.